start the stream and see whether or not I can see it start on the on YouTube. Yes, there we go. We have the stream going. Let me just take a look. Yep, looks like my microphone and VR chat are working. By the way, of course, this is not the way that you're supposed to introduce things. You're supposed to have like a theme music, right? Like, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to throw out a bit of theme music to just kind of get things going, something like from an early 1970s show. That would actually be one of those action shows like, okay, let's see, what was the one with Telly Savalas in it? This guy, Kojak, maybe, that was it. Or really Mannix. Or like none of these names you're gonna know, because like some of them are even in the 60s. Like they were but they had great theme music, usually by Henry Mancini, and again, somebody that you probably don't know. But like all of these like television show themes were just big in that case, and they would make the whole series appear to be alive more than they were in that case.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got the world music though. You have that turned on.
Okay. Oh yeah, now. Oh, that's a good point. Do I have? No, I didn't turn on the world music because for the stream, right? Because that's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm gonna stop showing the slides and start showing us. There we go.
It might be just us today.
Well, it might be. I'm trying to see whether or not Mooseboo is in. If Mooseboo is here, I'll try to call her over because she and I are friends. Friend locations. Today. I'm going to go to search. Oh wait, let's take a look. But Mooseboo might say, no, I'm not going to join today. And that's okay. Jocelyn, no. Now, I have friends online. I could call them over. Oh, there is somebody from BridgeMakers on who's a friend of mine, and I could call them over. But, you know what? What the hell? Like, I don't know. Send an invite. What the heck? Add a message. I'm gonna edit this one, and I'm gonna say hi. Starting. An event. I should have these things all pre-made. Starting an event. Want to join? And so let's do this. Want to join? Where's the? Oh, there it is. Okay. And submit. And send the invite. Well, and they'll send back, or they'll send nothing back. They just won't show up. Who have we got? Oh, we've got Sim. Oh, that's wonderful. Hi there. Hi, it's great to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Oh, good. Well, oh, and so we have started streaming, just to let you know. So at this point. So great, fantastic. Well, that means we've got 3 people. This is awesome. Yeah, you know, like having discussions like that is at this point. So yes, I'm going to say we're now at 3:04, maybe 3:05. What we'll do is we'll just start in 1 more minute, and then what we can first for what we want to talk about today, and hopefully maybe some other people will join us.
Sounds good.
How are you doing today's simulations?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I've been doing really good lately, so I made time to come to this event, so I'm glad
That's
to be here.
wonderful. Thank you very much then. Thank you very much. And yeah, I should point out I kind of chose this. I have a tendency to choose a world where it's a little bit dark, a little closer together, because Frofador just logged in, so Frofador may be just arriving soon, but is closer together because then, how can I say, as a person who, you know, leads church services, there's this tendency to have like the service and then have everybody sitting at the back of the church. Okay. And you just kind of go, well, the great news is that the sound system is great. So, you know, they can hear my voice, but you kind of feel like, say, come on up closer, okay? Like, you don't have to be far away. Honestly, I showered before I came here. So, like, I just don't want you to feel like you have to stay away.
When you say sound system, are you talking about the resonance of the church, or
yeah,
do you have a microphone?
at the church. We've got a
Right.
I'm mic'd up. Okay. In fact,
Oh, you are. Okay.
I'm the person who leads the team that not only mics up everybody, but then as well. And by the way, I say mic up everybody. There's only the minister really, and if I'm the one who, if I'm the worship leader, then I'm the only one who's being mic'd up at that point. But then we have hey, Profador, how's it going? We're in another, you know, cozy. And by the way, the other part is I love having a fire pit. Don't know why, but I
this
just.
is a good world, yeah.
It has it just adds something to it, and especially when you can hear the fire going. So we might as well. Oh, sorry, we can start now. So the first things first is the first slide, which is, of course, we all don't want to knock over my water. Okay,
Oh, no.
Which is the first slide, and I'm just going to put that into the stream right now because I can. Okay, just a second. Come on. Is the values slide. And I'm just sorry, I toggle back and forth between OBS and here just so that people who might actually be on, and do we have anybody on at the moment? On the stream, oops, and nope, just us. So is to go through the values. So again, human first, which is something that we all try to do, is to allow ourselves and to allow others to be human first in what we're doing and how we're interacting in that case. The next one, of course, is to talk about iteration. So the idea is nothing is perfect. Believe me, if you were to look at my original streams, they really had a lot of work to do. nothing's perfect, but we can get ourselves into a more into a better place by either providing feedback in some cases, and then in other cases just taking ownership and trying to find, when I say that, I mean the person, like in my case, learning how to do streaming better and how to do how to work with that in a better way. The next one is kindness. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm considering the attendees we've got. Perhaps we should each take one of the remaining 3.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
Who wants to go first?
Excellent point.
Come on, we know these.
So we're just saying the values?
Yep.
Yeah, and explaining them.
Oh, okay. I'll go. So my value would be transparency, which is basically just like the group being transparent with each other when it comes to like all the ins and outs of everything, and not like leaving any like confusions or secrets or things like that. So yeah, it's just like about having an open atmosphere and a collaborative understanding.
Great. Thank you, Sim. That's and just to add on a little to that, the transparency also is the fact that we're streaming, so that we can show people what we're doing and talking about in that case, and not kind of leaving it as a secret meeting, so to speak. Okay, thank you, Sim, very much so. Okay, Frofador. Do you need to see the slide, or?
I just took a closer look. Okay. Yeah, I think stewardship is a really important value. The ability to pass on our knowledge to other folks and to teach and to guide people, I think is absolutely really valuable for connecting people together. We wouldn't be a community if we weren't teaching each other new things all the time. So I really like that one. And we also have so many things each other to give. You might think you know everything, but someone will come around and teach you something you've never heard before. And I've had that happen more often than not in this group than anywhere in, I'd say, VR chat. So yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's great, Frofurter, because the other part that I consider as I look here, for the 4 of us, like we're helpers, right? Sorry, like we take on that helper role, and the fact simply is that we put ourselves at we look at a higher level of what we're doing, versus just sort of participating, so to speak. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The stewardship side makes that that gives us that next other part of being able to think of the total, and not just the our individual way of looking at things in that case. Okay, that's great. I think there's just one left.
Yeah, there's kindness.
Ah.
I was thinking about what kindness feels like in practice is a lot of the times putting yourself in the other person's shoes, and not just to try to feel what they're feeling, but also to see what you can add to their experience, because we all have different knowledge, and some aspect of kindness is about sharing sharing what you can add to their situation.
Okay, thank you, Mary. And yeah, again, as like I'll just say simply, the one thing that I keep remembering is kindness is different to just being nice. Okay, yeah, you could probably be nice and kind at the same time, but if you want to prioritize something as kindness, and that's a kind of like, as you're pointing out, a longer term view of how we interact with people, rather than just thinking that we're, I just want to get through this conversation, so to speak, or this, or this presentation in that case as well, as we sometimes do. Okay, so thank you. Those great answers, and I think that's fantastic. That, of course, we have the ourselves here with respect to that. So I'm just going to put the first slide out here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it in the stream. So I'm going to say simply, the way that I want, I'm trying to get into a cadence, and I kind of feel like one of the easiest ways to open up a discussion, especially with a discussion that is sometimes as difficult as the one that we have here with homophobia, is to first ask the question, what is homophobia? Okay, what is homophobia to you? And what is the definition that you go by? And so, I'm just gonna say, look, let's have that round table then, in that case of that. Okay, so who would like to just jump in there?
I don't know if this would be a good one to add, but it actually says what homophobia on there.
What? I didn't say that, did I?
That
Oh my God. What is homophobia? Sorry about that. What is homophobia? I apologize.
What homophobia?
What homophobia? Okay.
Like that would also be a
okay.
discussion point.
I can just about see this meme start up. Okay. Yes, that's right. I'm going to see this visual meme of what homophobia. What? Okay, there you go. So, okay, sorry about
that. What homophobia? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What you talking
about? A stereotype of someone who acts like that and is like, I don't see any,
I'm colorblind. I don't see any. Whatever you want to say.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so we'll just love how these conversations start. Yes, we'll start with the definition, okay, of what is homophobia. Okay, I'll just say that. Who would like to just ask at this point?
I mean, you could simply say it's a fear of gay people. That's it. I mean, more to it.
But that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. And if we think about it, what is it that people are afraid of? Like a phobia, okay, so as an example, arachnophobia, which is the fear of spiders. Okay, what is it that people are often afraid of? Often people have a rational reason, or I say a rational reason. They have a reason, might not be even rational, but why would they be afraid of spiders?
Because evolutionarily, spiders can lead to venomous bites, and that can lead to poison and death. It's something that I think passes on to some degree. People who've survived bug bites can, go on to let other people know and their offspring that this is deadly for survival.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes sense for spiders. Obviously, for homophobia, there's not really a threat to survival there, which is interesting.
Okay. So,
But yeah, like most phobias are a
It-
threat to survival.
It might
some
be
degree.
seen as a threat to community.
okay. All right.
Hmm.
Okay.
Would-
That's a cool thing. Okay. That's neat. Um,
Yeah.
Sim, what about you? What would you think of in that case?
In regards to what Mary said, or just what homophobia is?
What? Well, let's do both. Like, oh, if you can, like, if you've got your own view or something that you want to share about what you consider to be homophobia.
I would say it's a fear of gay people, like
Mhm.
what Frofter said. In regards to what Mary said, I could kind of see how that works, how it could be a threat to community for some people. Like it could create some kind of division or like a lack of like, I guess, children being born if like everyone was gay or something like that. That's something I've seen
Hmm.
people talk about a lot.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay, that's actually that's that's one that I haven't heard, but on the other hand, that is a cool way to actually hear that because that's the idea that the continuance of quote species, the fear that that might not take place as a result of having or endorsing the LGBTQ plus um, um, uh, and I say that, and that we know that there's differences there, but so like I kind of I will just chime in with my um, uh, the idea for me and my definition is that it's it's not the fear of gay people, it's the fear of gayness, okay, or the fear and sorry, I'm going to go back to a word or definition that of course was very prevalent in my childhood up until kind of like the 30s. It's the fear of homosexuality or the fear of and which is not a person. It is not a character. It is a character trait. But it was also, and this is again, I feel like I'm sitting in a different generation here, or sorry, in a different time zone here. Is that it was the fear of being seen as being gay or lesbian or bi, of
Oh
being
yeah, yeah. That
another
was
sexuality. Sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
Even I grew up in the early mid 2000s and as a teenager, and yeah, it was still extremely prevalent that literally anything you did would be ridiculed as, oh, that's so gay, as a derogatory, negative, terrible thing to be. And it was just used so much by
Hmm.
awful, stupid teenagers that surrounded me that were the only ones that were available to hang out with. And yeah, it's like I would say it's been pretty radical that even just the 2010s, and even now, it's seen as extremely acceptable.
Hmm.
Um, and now it feels extremely childish and ignorant to you throw that kind of thing around like it's an insult. And yeah, there's a huge fear. There's a huge fear, I think, in the masculine communities of some perceived incredible wrongness to be feminine as a man.
Hmm.
And so that's so gay is just thrown around like it's just the most obvious thing to criticize
It's
and to say like that's what I perceive in you, so I'm going to call it out. Make sure you don't behave that way or act that way or do this thing.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And I think sorry, and I should point out, every one of us has not only a correct definition, it's almost like all of those definitions are right. Okay? Like it's not just one thing, it's many things in that case. So, thank you for sharing that, because again, like that is actually something that, we all have to deal with in that case, is understanding another person's definition when sometimes we're not even sure what it is that they're thinking. And so, like, simulations, you came up with, wow, the idea that we would lose, or sorry, the idea that somebody might take the definition as we're going to stop having children, as an example. Well, that's, if somebody thinks that and is afraid of that, they will act on that accordingly. So that gets to actually the next thing, which is homophobic behavior. Like simulations just left. Oh, she might have crashed.
I think.
Oh, or
Yeah,
something
she was,
at this point. But okay, but that's homophobic behaviors. Okay, like sometimes that is a like what is the difference? Like, it's not actually the difference. What is it that, how would we describe homophobic behavior in that case?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How would we? So it's more like, I'm talking about definitions here. How would we describe homophobic behaviors in that case? Like, and I call it description. You can call it like, simulation's back! Yay!
Sorry
Hi
about
there.
that. I crashed.
Oh, I thought so. I'm sorry to hear. So sorry. So I actually staying with the definitions, Sim. We kind of want to it's kind of the next question is what is homophobic behavior, or like how would you describe homophobic behavior, or how would you, how does that, how would you perceive it? So like, just if you want, share what comes top of mind at this point.
Exclusion.
Okay.
Any form of like removing people from a situation or belittling people.
Right.
Some sort of act of, perceiving a threat and acting on it.
Right.
Or removing yourself from a situation. Yeah, I think it's definitely a type of fear. So,
it's also
it would be,
sorry.
No, go
There's
ahead.
also like a less a more, I don't know if it's passive, but where it's just a lack of inclusion in like a group or a community, where someone is just not being welcomed like everyone else.
Right. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. Sim, have you got...
So, I guess for me, so we're talking about homophobic behaviors, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. So, for me, homophobic behaviors would be, I guess, just showing like rudeness or just like an overly open like hatred towards someone that you think is gay or is openly gay. And of course, excluding them from spaces and just like treating them differently. Like you can like, easily tell that this person is treating this one person different or singling them out from the rest of the crowd.
Oops, sorry, wrong emoji. Apologize. Okay.
That's so funny,
Okay.
Sim.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's one of those causality things. Thank you. Yes. The toxicity of the toxicity. Thank you, touche. Okay, so the toxicity that can come with people who, like, again, the exclusionary and the non-inclusionary behavior. Sometimes those are two different ways of looking at the same thing, but sometimes they appear differently. And so I'm gonna throw one in here that I've seen all too often, as odd as this sounds. And another behavior that I've seen is silence. Okay? It's actually, believe it or not, it's and that, unfortunately, as much as that is a behavior of different things, sometimes silence can be seen as either acceptance, but in other cases it can be the quiet refusal as well. I don't, like, again, not trying to overthink it, but that is something that people do, and it is because they don't want to have a confrontation. They just want whatever it is that's happening to kind of either go away or they not be part of it. Okay, so that's kind of the thing that goes on there. And I put it out there. So, like, one of the reasons that why this, by the way, I should point out, this is kind of important to me, is because I had a very hard time getting through in my life with my homophobia. And it was a little, like, again, I'm not going to sit here and try to come up with excuses for it, but it was rather interesting when I look back at that journey, in order to be able to kind of come forward with it and say, how do I release myself from homophobia as it stands with me now, or as it stood with me then? So if I was to talk about the very first time I kind of had homophobia, and again, this is why I was suggesting talking about definitions. As a kid, I was, like, as a grade schooler, I was actually picked on or beaten up a number of times at school because I looked Japanese. And the thing is that in a school where you had, like, a lot of people who were kind of, like, very white, and there were very few minorities, they actually liked to pick, the kids just picked on people who were different. So I was different, and I looked very Japanese, and I was also unapologetic for being Japanese too. And that's a completely different discussion. But what happened was, one day I was actually, as usual, getting beaten up, and the fact is that they called me, take this, you Jap, which was, of course, the slang for Japanese. And then the next one they came out with was, and then they called me a Jap fag. And I'm not quite sure whether this is going to pass the thing. But they had just learned that.
Wow.
Well, this is the thing that got me, was that I said, wait a second, like, you're beating me up for being Japanese. Okay, got that. But what's a fag? Okay. And at that point in time, they stopped, and they all kind of looked at the one person who had said it, and he said, "Well, you're a guy who doesn't like to kiss girls." And, at the, really, I was like at the age of 6 or 7. And I said, well, at that age, I didn't want to kiss girls. Okay. Like that was, as odd as that sounds. Yeah. Thank you, Sid.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
like a child. Why does that matter?
Well,
Oh,
because
God.
that was something to pick on somebody about at that point. But I kind of go back in the history then. Now, so I should point out, so there became the homophobia for me, which was to realize that I didn't mind being accused of being Japanese. I was Japanese as far as I was concerned. But I wasn't going to be accused of something that I didn't know that I was or wasn't. And so that became a moment of homophobia. I was okay being called a minority and whatever pejorative that was being hit with me for my Asian descent. But I wasn't going to be something. You can't accuse me of being something else at that moment. Okay, or you can't accuse me of being something else, because I just that's not fair. And so that's why I was afraid. And that's how my journey with homophobia started. As I saw it, and it was rather interesting. My parents took on the view that really at a young age that it's okay that the LGBTQ plus, or at least at the time we didn't really understand. We didn't have any experience with trans people at that point, but we did have experience with lesbian, gay, bi people at that point, and my parents tried to assert that this was okay. And it was okay if I was that way. But I wasn't going to be okay with it if I wasn't that way. And so, or more importantly, I wasn't going to be okay with it if I was going to get beaten up at school about it and not be that. Okay, that was just one of those things. And I was pretty immature at that point. And I wasn't very mature, quite frankly, until I got into my 20s. And quite frankly, sometimes I don't think I was that mature then. But in any case, I kind of put out there that this is that was the start. And there were incidents along the way where I felt wholly uncomfortable, either, and really for the most part, with the idea that I would, how can I say, I didn't want to be seen as being gay. Even though I was starting to get into acting and a lot of my friends were gay. But I didn't want them to think I was gay. And I didn't want anybody else around me in high school and in university to think I was gay. And, the thing is I wasn't gay. Why wasn't I just happy with the fact that I wasn't? And not that I didn't have to feel like others had to see that I wasn't. But, you have that until at some point in time you have a turnaround that says, what is the problem here? And that, I should point out that for me was a case where they had presented at our church a voting issue for our church about allowing, it was essentially acceptance of LGBTQ plus community into the church and into leadership of the church, meaning allowing for LGBTQ plus ministers, and they wanted us to vote on it. And I kind of went to that session just simply because I thought, well, I'm part of the church community. I should do this. The other part is I knew they were going to have snack afterwards. So, in my in my early 20s, that was actually important to me. So, but then when they started talking, I said, I can't listen to this. Or rather, more important, I couldn't just listen to it, not do something. Yes, food is a powerful motivator. and in the end, I found that I was perhaps even being more articulate than I normally am. And I'm not being articulate. I'm just kind of going all over the place. But I was actually very articulate about how I didn't see this as a problem for our church or for any church or for our leadership or how this worked. And that, I think, was that moment of turning around and saying, well, I've got to do better than this, or more importantly, that there is a better out there and I should be part of that. And so I guess I kind of just put that as a point out there, and that's kind of my moment of how I needed to get better at it and how I needed to look at it. And I will say, it really didn't feel like I had done anything until, quite frankly, I got into VR chat. And then I started realizing, okay, yeah, you got to kind of have to step up some things a bit. So I won't get into more of the story there, but I thought I'd just share that with you because that would give you a sense of that it is, like, for those of us who have had to deal with homophobia, this has been this sometimes can be a hard, not a hard experience. It can be difficult to try to manage and even perceive where you need to do better. It's not something that we just sort of wake up one day and say, oh, well, let's do something different. So I'm going to stop there with that. Has anybody got any kind of questions or comments or something that they'd like to share? I hear the kid. Sorry, go ahead.
One acknowledgement that I've realized that discrimination is often invisible to someone who's outside of those circles. So in physical reality, I can't think of any instance of homophobia, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen with my gay friends or LGBT plus friends. And it could just be something that they don't like to talk about.
True. Very true. That's neat. Thank you, Mary. Mary. Yeah. Profidor, were you about to say something?
Oh, I'm just thinking, like, it's an interesting topic because I feel like I, at some point, was hanging around a lot of people in my youth that were just really, by the definition, yeah, homophobic. But I don't really know how I would have changed their minds or anything, and I can't really say where they even got the ideas from in the first place. It's like there was some underlying ick of the idea of a man liking another man. It's just like, it's so awful. It causes a revulsion inside of them to have that kind of reaction, and it's unfortunate that it is that way. And I imagine it's still that way for many people around the world.
You're right. It's something that oh, sorry. I'm just going to pay attention to the stream because I just heard two blings. Okay, no. that's sometimes you sometimes a bling means that the stream turned off. Okay, yeah, thank you, Frofador. You know, it's and the ick sometimes that somebody says is based on what they think is a cultural normative. Okay, has absolutely nothing to do. And so, like, as an example, my start with homophobia had nothing to do with anybody who was gay or lesbian or bi. Absolutely nothing. They it all had to do with how somebody was just going to hurt me in some way, and they found a new way to do it. And and yeah, that's that. It is just very interesting how we react emotionally at times with different things. Um, okay, and Sim, did you have anything that you'd like to add, or?
I kind of forgot the question.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't. It was just, any commentary on some of the things that we've been sharing in that case.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna basically say that, first of all, I appreciated how you shared your story and how it was just, like, really raw and you didn't really hold anything back. And it's really interesting as well because I guess the way that you handled it as well is it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like, it was nice, and I'm glad that you were able to share that story with us.
Oh, thank you, Sim. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's again, like, it's interesting what you do when you reflect back on your life and think about the things that you could have done differently. You kind of hope that you would have, but oh well. You can't actually rewrite history. The best you can do is learn from it and do better. And I think that's all technically I can do in that particular case. So, okay, so I'm just gonna throw these open, and we can discuss anything if we'd like to on that. I'm just gonna add this to the stream. Wait, okay, so. And back here, I'm going to just add that to the stream so that if anybody is watching or will be watching the stream, they know what it is that we're going to talk about. And now, okay. And, okay, so having said that, okay, so I've got like 3 questions here. How has homophobia entered your life? Can a person who is gay, lesbian, or bisexual be homophobic? And then transphobia versus homophobia, like, they're all,
those are interesting.
Yeah, it's just like I said, these are just kind of like conversation starters. I think we've kind of led with some of that with respect to the discussion in the first, like I said, homophobia entered my life at an early time. Yep, go ahead.
It does feel like we've kind of been talking about prejudice and bigotry for the most part, and when it comes to homophobia, it does feel like it could be related to, like a lot of those topics you said about, and I would say that out of all those topics, I kind of have have thoughts on all of them, but I am curious about the concept of being gay and homophobic. The only instance that would make sense for me are the people who are deeply ashamed that they are. And, there's been lots of news articles of people in power, coming out saying and trying to, trying to think of the word, basically criticizing and being homophobic, but then it comes out that they got caught, sleeping with someone of the same gender, and it's like, it's a very strange reality to see people, making such terrible, you know, pushes for power to eliminate who they are. And I can't help but think like this, the way that people compartmentalize themselves is something that would probably be very healing for some of these people, to acknowledge that there's a part of them that is this force that they truly hate, or that they had to survive in whatever world they grew up in to completely suppress that part of themselves. And since it's not possible to kind of rip out, that part of your soul, they just reenact these things in private and consider it a thing that I guess is separate from who they really are. So I can only really feel deep pity for those people who just don't, want to acknowledge who they are, what they are, and all of the harm they cause against other people that fall into that category. So, yeah.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Fofador. That's and that is becoming more topical these days as well. Sorry, Sim, I thought you had your hand up for a second there.
Oh, no, I think it just lost tracking.
Okay. Yeah, tracking in that case. But if anybody else would like to look at those a list, or even have other, things they'd like to discuss with respect to that. I'm like, if I can just interject, the one thing that I always find is that people treat people who are trans as being, in exactly the same kind of cloud or miasma. Sorry, an acidic or very toxic cloud of homophobia. It just doesn't seem to get to people that those technically can be two very, very different avenues or pathways of people. They're trying to find themselves in a different way, and it sometimes is that fear of anybody who is trying to work outside of their own personal worldview of how things are supposed to be, as opposed to how things, technically turn into or are in that case. So I put it out there, like I actually spend a fair amount of time in some my favorite groups, I should point out, are trans groups, and I enjoy the time I spend with that community, but really those friends. And it kind of breaks my heart to hear how people feel about how people feel about that. And in some cases, to be fair, once in a while I come across one friend who's like either gay or bi, and they really are kind of upset to see to see trans people there. Yet they don't quite, and then they don't kind of extend the grace that sometimes I think they're looking for in their life as as away from homophobia or otherwise. But that's just my own personal take on it in that case.
I feel like sometimes that is about maybe it's jealousy, that if they had a hard time, then that's just normal. That's what people should expect. And there's this film called Runaway Jury, and there's this one hard nut who's really hard to sway, and I feel like that was his issue, was that he had a rough time, and why should anyone else have it easier?
Oh, yep. And yeah, it never fails. I like, at work or otherwise, I've always talked to people who say, you know what, I treat everybody like crap. So, like, I'm really not prejudiced. Okay, so I kind of feel like,
I feel like I've seen similar excuses.
Oh my gosh, that's always a funny one to deal with in that.
Pretty sure House has literally said that.
I'm
in the TV series.
Yes. Actually, I think you're absolutely right. And yet, technically, that they might say that I treat everybody like crap, and so therefore I am above judgment, is what they're probably saying. Yet the fact is that no, they're not. If you judge people that way, you're going to be judged, and that's the whole point of it. But Sim, did you have anything that you wanted to add, or?
I'm mostly just observing what
Okay,
Rune is saying
that's fine.
right now.
That's great. Well, I am going to say we've got like 4 minutes left at this point. And then what we'll do, if we're all okay with that, I wouldn't mind if we could take a picture, because we've not yet done that as a final group in that case, for any of my events. So we could do that. I don't know, oh, sorry. And so that's the next slide, which is, oops, out here, which is next topic. Does anybody have any kind of preference?
Well, I have to get going. Actually,
Oh.
I have a 4 o'clock.
Okay, sorry. Okay,
3
yeah.
minutes, but
Photo first, then?
Could we do the picture?
I can do a quick. I have time for. I do have a time for a picture.
Okay,
Or
so
should
we're
I-
gonna. Sorry about this, Sim. I'm just
Group hug.
obviously group hug. Okay, cool. Just a second.
Yeah.
I am going to. Where is my stupid camera? Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Get it.
I'm trying out the third-person camera in desktop mode. It's kind of cool.
Okay, I'm doing that.
Oh.
I am going to now click. Yay! I got the picture. Oh, yay! I got a picture. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, there we go. Awesome. And now, and thank you very much, Profidor, for sticking around for the picture. I am now going to copy that. Put it. Oh, this is what I call the moment of truth, is where I now am going to place it into the Chiron, and I am going to move it to.
See you, Frofador.
Take care, Profidor.
Hey guys.
And I am now going to put it into our stream. There we go. We have this beautiful picture. That's great. I'm going to leave it there for a moment. And then I'm going to say, put in the thank you to the stream. And oops, never fails. Oh, I'm looking. I have to do this on 2 monitors. So the fact is that I have to kind of go back to the other monitor. Come on up. Let's do that. And now I say thank you. Okay, so thank you very much, both of you. Fantastic.